Hello everyone, Josh with Incompetech. Today we're going to be discussing how to manage your checkbook and also how to reconcile it the proper way. I know this doesn't sound like a real fun topic, but I'd like to cover it since no one ever showed me how to do it personally. And my daughter's been asking how is she supposed to figure this stuff out since they don't really teach this kind of stuff in school. So I figured it'd be a good topic to go over, at least for the kids. And for starters, it's geared towards kids that are either getting ready to graduate or have opened up a checking account and they don't really know how to do this. It'll be a good way to make it easier for them and also help them learn a skill that they'll need to understand how to do. Maybe not fully use all the way because not everybody does it this way. Not everybody even reconciles their bank account anymore. But it's still a skill that everybody should at least understand how to do. So let's begin by showing you how I set up Google Sheet and use it for your checkbook register. I use Google Sheets. You can use Google or Microsoft Excel also. I personally would suggest Google Sheets just because it's readily accessible from anywhere you have internet. You don't have to be home on your computer opening up Microsoft Excel. You could be on your phone and still pull up your checkbook register and make an entry in it right there on the fly as you did something if you wanted to. And the best thing about it is if you do want to use Google Sheets, you could always download it as Excel if you needed to, and then transfer whatever you did in Excel back to Google Sheets later on. So here's how I set up my checkbook register. You need to put some headers in. The headers don't have to match exactly what I have here. These are the headers that I like to use and the ones that I will these are the ones that I'll use. And you can set yours up similar or use different titles, however as long as it makes sense to you and as long as you understand what you're putting in there needs to match arithmetically wise to what I'm putting up. So here's the first column. B will be check numbers, right? So number 1 through whatever, or 10,000 through whatever your check number is. The current date that you obviously either made a deposit or bought something. A description of what it was, whether it's, went and got gas or whatever. The cleared column we'll go over later. Your withdrawals would be how much, so $25 for gas, or you deposited $25 of checks and a balance. Now this, as most registers, you're going to want to carry over your balance from the previous month. So we're going to take this next line right here and we're going to highlight it and fill it yellow, and then put balance if I could spell today, previous, and whatever that number is, let's just call it 2300. Now you notice that I just typed 2300 in there and it just wrote it 2300. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this whole column and go over here to the format as currency. You see it automatically made it currency, which is what we want. So now we're going to highlight these F and G columns and do the same thing because those should all be numbers when we're said and done. Now that's the basic setup right there for your checkbook register. So as you go along, you'll end up filling in information, your checks, your dates, your descriptions, your amounts, and a balance over here will get filled in. And I'm going to show you how to create a formula that will automatically fill in this number and populate it with the previous line information once you give it a description. Now you can change this formula to be once you've put in a date or description, or once you've written in the withdrawals or deposit. I personally use description because I know if I'm going to type in a description, then I've obviously spent something. And that formula should look like this. You do equals, and this works both in Excel and on Google Sheets. So if you're going to do this in Excel, use the same formula. Type equals if parentheses open, and we're going to go with the description in D4 because that's the line I'm on. D4 equals quote quote comma quote quote closed parentheses, and now comes the rest of the formula. So what we're going to put here is the balance, which is coming from H3. Oops, my bad. So now we're going to put H3 plus G4 minus H4. Okay, and that's going to be our formula. Alright, yep, so I typed it wrong. And I always forget this, that when you're doing this, you've got to put a comma here and close quotes the whole thing. So let's make sure we're all on the same page. It's equals if, open parentheses, D4 is equal to quote quote, so double quotes.
There is a message for you.
Question mark, double quote, comma, H3 plus G4 minus H4, close parentheses. Now, that gives us our formula that we're going to use. And what you'll do is you'll just run that down just like that. You grab the corner right there, and you copy it down as many cells as you feel necessary. I usually do about 100 cells at a time. And if I don't need it that far down, I can erase it later. And I'm going to show you why you would do that later. But that's our basic setup. So let me just show you a quick line of how this is going to function. So we're going to do 1/1/18. And it was gas. And it cost $43. Okay, so I've caught myself in another boo-boo. This shouldn't be H4, it should be F4. Now, as you see, I corrected the formula. So we're going to need to drag this down to fix those. And you see it also auto-populated the field with the proper number. So 2300 minus the 43 gives us 2257. And it'll continue to do that for as many lines as you've run this down, and also for as many lines as you fill in. But that's the basic setup to the checkbook register. So let's go to the checkbook that I've already set up and I've run some stuff in. I've already put in a bunch of items. As you can see, it's about a month's worth of basic household payments and, things that you would do every single month. The next thing that we're going to discuss is this cleared column. I like to set it up as a list, and as you can see right here, I've got a tab called lists, and all you do is you go in and you put whatever you want to put. I use X and O, X as being yep, I've cleared it, and O as being no, it's still open. You create that and come over to the field, and in the field you'll go up to data validation, and you'll tell it to pick from whichever tab, which mine's called lists, the two cells, A1 and A2, and then tell it to show on a drop down. So that way when you're reconciling, and I'll show you how to do all that, you have a way to mark these and you can go back and look at them. So the next thing you're going to do after you've completed your month, you would start this all over again. You would have, like I would blank all this out right here and start a whole new month on line, let's say 25. And I would copy all of the titles on line 25, then I would highlight line 26 and do it just like this with my balance forward, and I would carry over into that balance forward right now as it stands $2,085.44. Now, we haven't reconciled, so that number may not be right, but as of right now, that's the number I would carry over. And I would do that for 12 months, all the way down this sheet until I've got 12 months worth of checkbook registers. Now, I'm not going to go and do that, but that's what you should be doing. 12 months worth of checkbook registers, so you could go back the full year and look at where you started and where you're at, and you can make sure that nothing's messed up. Like if your banking statement comes in and you look at it and go, well, that doesn't look like what I have. Where did I mess up? Or what's messed up? Or what changed? You would have the information right here in front of you to be able to do the research. The other thing you're going to want to do is highlight your titles and filter by them. So once you've got them highlighted, come up with data and do filter, and it'll auto filter that information for you. So now when it's time to reconcile, and we're going to go over some of that here in a couple minutes, you'll better equipped to see the information you're going to want to see. So let's talk about bank statements real quick. So the bank typically will send you a statement every month. And in that statement, it should have every single purchase and deposit that you've made for that month that's cleared. So if you look at your bank statement, and it should have all the same information that we have right here in this checkbook register. Now, one key point to note is that if you have an interest-bearing checking account, you're not going to know what that interest is until you get your bank statement from the bank. So that's always going to be missing in your register until you get your bank statement. So that's one item that you'll always have to fix every time you get your bank statement. So let's look at what comes in the bank statement. It's going to look very similar to what you have in your checkbook register. It's going to have a list of the dates, the description of what it was, and the amounts. And then you'll also have typically somewhere and whatever day that they pay the interest, something that says interest paid or interest accrued or something along those lines. And it'll be a number like this. It might be a cent, it might be a fraction of a cent, but if you have an interest-bearing checking account, it should be in there someplace. Now, that number instantly, you're going to need to come back over to your checkbook and put it in so that you know that your information should be the same. So let's go ahead and add that one because we already know that that one's missing. So, interest paid, and it was a deposit of 2 cents. So you see it upgrade. It added the 2 cents on automatically for me. I don't have to worry about the number. I don't have to sit with the calculator and figure it out. It's there. The next thing when you get your bank statement is you're going to want to sit down and go over it from top to bottom, every single line, and verify it against your checkbook. Now, here's the one thing about bank statements that can get tricky. Some banks send you paper in the mail. You open it up and it's your bank statement. And you're supposed to sit down and go through it line by line against your checkbook register and check them off and say, yep, I got this, yep, I got that, yep, that one's good, that one's in there, that one's in there. It's a pain to do it that way. If your bank gives you the option of downloading your bank statement as an Excel spreadsheet or a comma-separated file, go that route. Because now you can take that file and copy the contents out of it right into your Google Sheet, just like this. And now you have an electronic form that you can now work with. And this is a much easier way to do it. If your bank doesn't give you an option of doing an Excel download or a comma-separated file, then you're stuck doing paper or reading the information online. And it's just the way it is. Unfortunately, I can't, give you a better way of doing it, but you'll have to read the paper, get a pen, and, check off each line that you've done, and then go to your checkbook register here and do what we're about to do. So you get your bank statement from the bank, and we're going to hopefully, get it in Excel or separated file, and we're going to upload it into our Google Sheets file just like this, and we're going to start. So on 12/1, our carryover balance they said was $2,500. So let's look. What did we have? We had the exact same amount. So what we're going to do is come over here, and granted, it should already have matched, but we're just going to go ahead and mark through that one. We know that's good. So we're going to come back over here, and we're going to go, okay. We wrote check number 1 on 12/1 to cable for $100. Check number 1 on 12/1 to cable for $100. All right, so let's grab that one, strike through it, and come back to our checkbook and put an X in there because we know that one cleared. Now we're going to do the electric, 150, 150. All right, we know that one's cleared. So let's go back over here. Strike through that one. Now we got a paycheck on 12/2 for $2,800. Paycheck 12/2 for $2,800. Yep, we are clear. Go back over here. Highlight. Strike through it. And then when we use check number 2 for our mortgage on 12/3 for $1,440. Come to the checkbook. And look, check 2, 12/3 mortgage, $1,440. All right, so that one's cleared. Let's X that out. Come back. Now you can do this one by one like I'm doing now, or you can do several at a time, and I'm going to show you. 12/3 gas, 45. So look right there. We found a mistake because we don't have 12/3 gas. We've got a 12/15 gas for 47. So let's go back and look. 12/15 gas for 47. So those two aren't the same. And let's just look through the rest of these. Are there any more for gas? There is, but it's for 49, not 45. So we missed an entry. This is why you reconcile your checking account. We made a boo-boo and didn't put that one in. So now we're going to have to come down here and type in 12/5/17 gas, and we're going to go back to the bank statement and get the exact number. So it was exactly $45. So let's put $45, and it already did everything. So now we're going to go ahead and clear that one off, and we're going to clear this one off. And then I'm going to show you how to do a couple at a time. So on 12/4, we had 2 entries, one for groceries for $125.67, and school books check 3 for $375.55. So we're going to come back over to here. Groceries $125.67, $375.55 for school books, and it was check 3. So we know those are both cleared. And gas for $47.16, which we looked at earlier, but we're going to double check it. Gas on 12/15, yep. So we're going to go ahead and clear that one. And we're going to do the next 3. 65, 450, 127.17. 65, 450, 127.17. Water, car payment, car insurance. Water, car payment, car insurance. So those are clear. So we're going to clear them out. Then we got a paycheck for $27.50. Yep. So $27.50 paycheck. And we're going to stop at that paycheck for a second and grab all this information and straight through, because we know we just did them all. Now let's go down. We're going to do movies for $22.50. Groceries for $135.64, and miscellaneous for $345.17. $22.50, movies, groceries 135.64, and miscellaneous 345.17. Those are all checked. So we're going to check them off. And we're going to come over here and strike through them. Now, I know the rest are okay since I did them all, but we need to go through and mark everything as checked. So let's just speed through this, and you've marked everything done because you've checked everything manually. I know that I did all of this already, and I know this is all correct. So if we look at our bottom line, we say we have $2,040.46 after paying and receiving all of our deposits and withdrawals, including our interest paid, and adding the correction of missing the gas. The bank statement says we have $2,040.46 based on what they've cleared. So the numbers matched up exactly, which is all you're really looking to do is get those numbers to match. Once you got to that point and you've matched them, you know that your reconciliation is completed and you aren't missing anything else. Now, had we come up and done this and found like the water bill hadn't cleared, we would have put an O in it. And here's what we would use that for. When we go through here and look and we see we want to make sure what's cleared and what's not cleared, we're going to do blanks or O's. And that's going to show us, well, the two last lines weren't included in the filter. So that's going to, so that's one key note is when you do your filtering, do it after you've completed everything. So let's clear that. Let's go ahead and put that in, and let's fix the filtering. Data, turn off filter, data, filter. So now it'll filter on all of those. So now let's filter for blanks or O's, and we get just this one. And we know that that one hadn't cleared because let's just say it wasn't in here. That $65 water bill didn't show up in our bank statement from the bank. So that means either the water company didn't receive it, the water company hadn't cashed it yet, or it's just really behind and the bank just hasn't gotten around to putting it on, and it should show up the next time. So when the next bank register statement comes in, you're going to want to look and make sure that this water bill gets cleared out. So that's what the O's and X's are for. So let's go ahead and clear this and get back to where we were. Now, there's your generic checkbook register and bank statement and how to reconcile them. You would, again, since December is done, start January on like line 25 or 26, whatever. Just skip a line or two and just redo everything from here. Right, get your titles and everything right there and put it as, and you could do it off to the side, like put this was for December 17, and then you would put down here this would be January 18. So then you would have January 18 starting in here and work your way all the way down till you were done with January. Then when your bank statement came in, redo the whole reconciliation part. Now, what's good about this is if you're going to do it this way, you could do, here, let's fill this in. Check, date, description, whoops, cleared, withdrawals, deposits. Now you'll want to clear that out because that's not right, obviously. Balance. And then we want to check the formula up here in the top. So if, well, no we don't, because this is actually going to be carried over from here. So you're going to put 2040.46 right here. 2040.46. 46. Then this is going to be your formula. So if D27, yep, that's right, is not blank, then H26, so H26 plus G27 minus F27. So the formula is correct. So you don't have to change the formula at this point. So the next thing we'll do is just bold these, highlight this in yellow, and we will put it in 1/1/18 the cable bill, right? Because that's the first bill we got last time. Saying it was $100. And look, it's following along and doing what it's supposed to. So now you've got your next month started, and when that next month's bank statement comes in, you can come right over here. Here's where we started December. You could drop it in, starting right here on line 26 and plop in your January bank statement. If you get it in paper, well, you wouldn't be putting it in here. You would just be, using the paper and crossing through it. But there's your checkbook register, your bank statement, and your reconciliation of your bank statement and your checkbook register and how you do it. Have any comments or questions, please feel free to drop a comment down there. And if you like what you see, like it, subscribe to it, and click the little bell. Thanks. This has been Josh with Incompetech. Well, that completes our show. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, subscribe and like. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up with comments, and I'll be talking to you soon.